You are now listening to Femme podcast with Tessa Markle
and Carolina Alvarez.
Femme. Welcome back, listeners. Femme. We have our first guest of season 2.
Woo! So excited.
Yes. This is our friend, writer and director Elizabeth Blake Thomas, who has done several films now and is like the queen of efficiency. You did, 4 features in 1 year alone?
That is correct.
Yes. Awesome. She's also done theater now and written a book. She's known for her films Maybe I'm Fine and Sounds of Silence. And several of her films have won awards as well in the film festival circuit, which I'd love to hear about today. And she's even made a film with her daughter, which is awesome.
Well, you have to have free labor.
Yes.
It helps, doesn't it?
Exactly.
I'm not there yet, but it's nice.
Well, yeah, she's 16, so why not? She's been doing it for 10 years, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I've just finished a film as well.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I have.
Sheesh.
That's why I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And that's why today I thought it was Friday or something, and it's only Monday. I just finished a film called Unseen.
Okay.
And that was actually, I'd say, my best project so far. So I can tell you about that one too.
I would love to
Absolutely.
hear about what number in the roster
That
would this
would be, I'm almost losing count, which I think is a good sign.
Oh my
Yes.
I know.
gosh.
I think this is number 8.
Wow.
I think.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. And I'm
girl.
shooting
feature, right?
No, well, actually, I've got a story. All I've done is features, and I've actually made this for. There's a bigger reason, and it's my first short.
Okay.
Because I'm entering it into the academy.
Oh, awesome.
So it's specifically written and directed for that audience.
Okay.
And so when I realised that I probably couldn't win a feature yet, so I thought, okay, how do I get in? And 2 years ago, a friend of mine won. And this year just gone, my manager represented the person that won that. So I thought, well, third time should be me.
That's fantastic.
Meant to be.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know, is that how that works to get into the academy?
So nothing works how anything works.
Of course.
So I believe that the way of getting spotted is thinking outside of the box. And therefore, as you know, this is how I think.
Right.
And so in fact, today was proof of it. I was sitting with somebody and they were talking about all these female directors, and they were the top ones, the usual, Nancy Myers and Catherine Hardwicke. And I just thought, I just want to be on that list. How can I get on that list? And she was naming other female directors who are good, but they're not at that level. And so I feel that the way to do that is by winning an Oscar and bypassing everything else. So I genuinely have written something that I believe, and I saw a bit of a cut today, and this wonderful chap who's cutting it with me, who's my mentor and helped me work on the script. He worked and ran the BBC for 15 years, and he just looked after The Young and the Restless for another 3 years. He watched it and he said, "You've really got something." And when he said that, you kind of think, okay, this is good.
That's a good sign.
Right.
It's a good sign. So I was very, very happy with what we're doing so far. And it's unusual and it's different. And I drove away going, yeah, I could win.
How long is it? Well, going to be.
Well, it's 24 pages.
Okay.
And having researched this in a finite detail, the ones that have won have been between the length of 17 minutes and 29 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm thinking if I average this, and the last one this year just won is 19 minutes. And so I thought if I average about 20 minutes, that should be good.
Okay. That we're always curious what the magic number is. It varies, of course.
Well, it does, because, it does depend how good it is. If you're making something that's not very good, you want to get it over and done with quickly. But I think this is the way I've structured it actually fits to what the script is. And it's beautiful. It's my best work so far. I'm very proud of it. And from concept to where I am now was, I think, a maximum of 6 weeks.
Wow.
And even
from start to wrap.
Well, yes. We wrapped a week ago, so really that was maybe only 5 weeks. I don't know, but it was an idea that we came up with. I came up with somebody else from Sundance, and I said, I think it was about 2 weeks after Sundance. So we're not looking very long ago. And I said, okay, I'll write something. Yeah. This will be fun. And I funded it. And I got an amazing team behind me. I got phenomenal cast. I had the wonderful actress Ryan Brown, who plays Taraji P. Henson's daughter in Empire.
Okay.
And Isabella Blake Thomas, who I have to have my daughter.
Yes.
She was excellent, though. And this wonderful woman called Yolanda Wood, who was from High School Musical, and she's done a lot of theatre. Excellent actress. And then a friend of mine called Hilary Barrowford. And it was pretty intense for 3 days. But I can't wait to share it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is huge.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're like the quickest, most efficient filmmaker I know that like still makes really quality content. You know, like, I mean, what's your secret? Is it totally just thinking outside the box and doing things a different way?
Yeah, I think it is. And I'm also not afraid to just do it. I've got a book coming out later this year called Filmmaking Without Fear. And I was supposed to give it to my publisher. I'm really sorry, publisher, 2 months ago. And but I decided to make my last chapter called How I Won an Oscar. And so I'm just putting it out there as much as I can. Okay? No, seriously, if you don't, and everyone starts believing in you, I've got to do my PR campaign. I'm going for it. Why shouldn't it be me?
Yeah.
Right.
So I've got to finish that book. But I think it is about saying if you're going to do something, you do it and you find a way to do it. And then my word of the year was elevate. And so that was really important to me this year because I'd shot those 7 features in a couple of years. And I realised that was my film school. I've learned a lot. I've won awards. This is great. But now what can you do to get yourself to that next level?
Yeah.
And for our listeners, that is like no actual going to a film school training. That's you just in the field doing it and learning from that process.
Yeah, I've never been trained. I was a theatre director.
Okay.
But that was self-taught really as well, because I will say I don't think I even went to a single, or maybe I did one class at university. But I just wanted to be out. I wanted to be out working. I enjoy being creative. I enjoy being around creative people. So I seem to collect people together. And as I said, this chap who's working on it with me, Mal, said to me, he said, it is quite astounding that you said you were going to do this and you've done it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, maybe they're afraid to, or I don't know, or they just don't know how to. But to me, it's just about saying, if I'm going to hold myself accountable, and if I keep saying things enough, then I will do them. Because I'd hate to be someone that doesn't do what they're going to do.
Agreed. Amen. We're the same way.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of just how we keep going. And,
exactly.
And like figuring it out. So that's why it's like a breath of fresh air to meet someone like you who's like really have gone and done. Had they been micro budget films, these 7?
Well, so no, no, not micro budgets. Biggest one was $500,000.
Okay.
Damn.
And then this one that I just funded was a micro budget because because I've proved myself. The people that I then asked to come and help me on this, because I don't believe you should do anything for free. So my first film, that's fine. I actually paid people on my first film. It was the second film that I was like, okay, now I only have 30K. What do I do with this? And everybody believed in me, and therefore they got number 3, 4, 5, and 6 from it. This film was very much that similar situation where I said, look, I'm funding what there is. So I want people to come on board because they believe in the project. It's not just, I want to make this and put this on Amazon. The point is I want it to go for something bigger. So they had aspirational goals with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think also it's a case of them meeting people, having those new experiences too. So they knew there was a bigger picture for it. And therefore people don't mind giving 3 days. Again, I would never expect someone to do, please, can I have 2 weeks of your time for a feature for absolutely nothing?
Right.
I wouldn't even ask that.
Absolutely.
But a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, would you like to be part of it? This is my goal. This is what I'm doing. And you are going to be surrounded by incredible people as part of this. Then they all say yes. You know, I never force anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
Except my daughter. But don't tell her I said that.
But I mean, that's how you build great relationships. Like a little context for our listeners. We met Lizzie over tea at the Peninsula Hotel, right? Was what it's called in Beverly
more
Hills.
We are drinking tea now.
Yes, specifically Celestial Seasonings. It is the wild berry zinger flavor. I think
Shout
we're both
out.
a big fan of these Celestial Seasonings
I love
sampler
it.
packs. But yeah, when we met Lizzie, you know, she was just very inspiring to us because, you know, you're a girl that gets shit done, you know. And
Can I have a T-shirt that says that?
yes.
Get shit done. We'll have it made, print in
Thank
the
you.
press.
Thank you.
Femme.
Yeah.
That could be my PR for deadline.
Exactly.
The girl gets shit done. I like it. But you know, that's really important to me.
Yeah.
It really, really is. I value that. And I try to teach that to my daughter as well. You know, if you're going to do something and say you're going to do it, you've got to do it.
Yeah.
But it is about having those people around you.
Yeah.
That's
and how did you kind of build your network? I know we had chatted about it, but for our listeners.
Well, I first met, I suppose my DP and a few other people via my daughter's acting things. You know, we'd gone to, because I hadn't done this in the UK at all, we'd gone to a festival in Texas called World Fest. And that was a friend of mine that had won something. She said, would you go? And I was like, yeah, this will be fun. Yeah. I should just go to a festival with Isabella. And we met these crazy filmmakers there who were lovely. They actually just stay in Texas, though. They don't kind of go out of there. But it started me to watch that and started to teach me without knowing it. It was just through osmosis. Yeah. I wasn't aware this was happening, and understand it and realise that I kind of knew what it was all about. And then every time Isabella had been on set, I kind of look at people and think, I like them. Are they nice to me? And also the people that don't treat me badly. And what I mean by that is because there are a lot of them, because I'm the mum of the actress.
Right.
And it's amazing how many people are so dismissive and are rude and ignore you. And as a mum, if they don't treat me well as a mum, then why would they suddenly treat me well as a director? Or they would, but just because they want the job.
Right.
So I stay very quiet when I'm on Isabella's sets, and I watch everybody, and I think, oh yeah, I'd like them. So I basically keep in touch with those people, and then I'll say, oh, do you know what? I do this. If you ever want to do something or work with me, and it just builds and builds. So that's kind of over. The acting for her, as I said, has been 12, 13 years. But over here, I'd say I started picking people about 5 years ago, thinking, I like them, but not knowing what for. And then 3 years ago was when I called the first lot together.
Okay.
In fact, 3 years ago this month.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah. It blows my mind. I know I've said this a couple of times now, but how much you've accomplished in such a short time. I mean, you've had like articles written on you. You've done speaking at events and everything like that.
That's how I first met Lizzie. Like, I guess she came to, now it's like been so long ago.
Which one was it? Was it Pasadena?
It was in Pasadena.
Yeah, that film festival. So I really enjoy doing that. I really enjoy speaking, having articles, because again, that's just about elevating yourself. And then once you've done that level, you go up to the next level.
And it's about giving back too.
Oh my gosh, that's so important to me.
That is actually what I love about you, Lizzie.
Very much so.
You are one of the first female producers to actually sit down and talk to us. We had some others on the last season of our podcast, but it's amazing how so many people are like, yeah, I'll give you some advice, and like you never hear from them. Like you stick to your word. You follow up, you email,
you have
and
to.
like it's honorable. So thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure. It was a lovely tea that we had. But that is important. And actually, even on my sets, like this one just gone, I had about, I'd say 75% of my crew were either this is their first big project or had never done something. Okay. So my heads of the department, well, actually, only maybe like 4 of us, my DP, my UPM, myself, and then my mentor, and then everybody else was being brought up. And because also I do understand that people need to get their first experience. So I had this wonderful girl that did the props, and she asked me if she could do it, and I said, yeah, of course you can, because it's not so crucial that if she couldn't find that exact jug or whatever, it's not that. We're not making something that's a period piece. It's very specific to where I was, but nothing could go wrong. Yeah. So you can give people the opportunity. And my second AD learned a lot from the UPM, and my first AD, he'd never done that before, and he got taught how to do it. So we all work together. I mean, it was
That's actually
full on,
really
but,
awesome.
Enjoyable. So we all, as they said, #leveled up. That's what they said.
I love that.
Yeah, it was fun.
How do you though? Is it intuitive, like finding those people that you can trust even though it's their first time? Like, how did you make those decisions? Because it's hard when you are spending the money and time.
It is. So it's not about it's bigger than that. It's bigger than me, I'll have to say. I trust that whoever's come into my kind of my world of that day, my universe, whatever's meant to be is meant to be. And I'm a Kabbalist, so which is where my daughter is tonight. Actually, we study Kabbalah, and we believe very much in what all the good things that you put out there and karma and everything. So I feel very strongly that when I do something or say something or someone comes into my life, then they're there for a reason. And I might not know why they're there straight away, but it does become clear. So I trust my instinct immediately when I put something out to say I'm looking for, and someone replies, even if there could be 3 or 4. It's amazing how sometimes I'll just go, yep, this one works.
Yeah.
And I'll just go with that one. It's I don't spend time looking at resumes. I'm sorry, I really don't. In fact, when I met with this girl, she said, so, do you like what I'd done? I was thinking, I didn't even look, because I just trust, I like your name and I know that you're the right person, because otherwise you wouldn't have been put into my world.
Yeah.
And she was phenomenal. And they all want to work hard, and everybody's got that, because if you say to someone, this is how it's going to be, and there's a slight doubt in their mind, then they're not going to do it. And I'm very, very honest with them.
Yeah.
It's hard work. It's 3 days. There's no pay, but this is what it's for. Do you want to be part of it? I don't mind either way.
Being upfront that way, I think is huge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just trust the people that are put in my world.
I think that's so, that's such a great thing too, to like hear that that's worked out for you, because I feel like when hiring cast and crew for things, we always want to go with whether or not like how much we're paying them, like instead of just hiring someone who's just in it for the money and maybe they love doing it but they don't know us or they don't know our project, as opposed to someone we either have worked with or are friends with that maybe doesn't have the experience or the knowledge but is actually passionate in the project. I'd always rather go in that direction. So it's
definitely
it's good to hear
and
that
it is instinct.
Worked.
Instinct really, I that's how I live my life. It's by instinct.
Yeah.
Drives my mother crazy.
Well, speaking of that, when you started, was it really just like your first film where you kind of figured everything out, or?
Yeah. And it was a wonderful experience because I basically had met this lady who was a location for one of my daughter's films. And she'd said to me like 3 years previously, I'd love to do a film with you and Isabella if you ever want to do one. And it hadn't resonated in any way with me because I wasn't a film director. And then when I wanted to do it for this first time, I thought, I remember that lady. Maybe she'll give me like $5,000 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I look at budgets and go, how do you make one of these? And then I realised you just make it up. So that was easy. And then, so we, of course, you just do.
Everyone does it. Everyone
you
does
put any number you want and add some zeros if you need to. And so I called the lady and she said, I'd be really interested. Why don't you fly over and we'll write a story? So I flew over with actually my ex-boyfriend at the time, who's a lovely director, and we flew in together, and that was even shorter, from conception to, or inception, I don't know which word it is, either one works, to a finished product was only 4 weeks.
Wow.
That was a feature, and Isabella was the lead, and I got her acting teacher to come and fly in as well, and that was $250,000, and I'd never done anything. So I called the people in that I knew. We had about a crew of 12 to 15 people, killed us. I was also going through divorce at the time, so that was fun. Wow. And then just throw it at me. And what I remember most was not knowing anything, but knowing what I could see in my head. So if I can see my movie in my head, then I know it's going to be okay. And I saw that movie in my head, I saw it play out, and so I could just visualize where I wanted to put the camera. I knew no technical terms, but my DP, who was the same DP who's been with me on every project now.
Wow.
He's younger than me. He's 30. He's although I still think he's 27. We worked together, and I started to create my own names for things. I'd call for the sandbox, and he'd say it's the apple box, I think. And then I would do a lot of Englishisms which nobody understood. In fact, there was one scene where we spilt something, and I said, "Could someone please pass me the kitchen roll?" The place went silent. Okay, silent. I said, "Will somebody just get me the kitchen roll?" And nobody moved. I said, "I don't know why no one's getting me the kitchen roll." And Duncan said, "We have no idea what you're asking for." So I create my own names for things. But that film was I look back at that very, very fondly because I knew nothing. And so I can look at that and go, wow, look at how I was creative. Because sometimes knowledge doesn't help you because you can't do things.
Right.
So now I stick even more. And I think because of the way the industry has evolved, actually, there are no rules, which is great.
Yeah.
You can look at a lot of shows now and people don't worry about that. stupid 180 rule or anything. You know, you can do what you want.
Right.
And I think I've come in at the right time to not know those rules.
Yeah.
So I can just make my own up.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I hope that for our listeners out there, they're just as relieved as like we are.
Yeah, like that's a really good thing to hear.
That is so nice. And just because I again like think because of fear or not knowing everything, you're never going to know everything. You're never going to have the exact same process even for each film that you do. It's going to be different.
Well,
every
and it's
time.
never going to be perfect. That's the biggest thing. So my book is called Filmmaking Without Fear, because a lot of people don't do it because they think it's got to be perfect. I don't worry about that because it's never going to be perfect. So why should I spend 10 years trying to make something perfect when I've not done anything now?
Right,
yeah.
If I hadn't experienced all these features before this short that I've just done, then I'd be in the same position. But what, put all this time and effort thinking I could win it? No, that would be stupid.
Yeah.
Now I've experienced everything, I can look at this and genuinely go, wow, that's really good. I cried at my own cut.
Oh, that's
and
fantastic.
I knew what happened. No, it was really sad. I was like, everybody's going to cry. Oh, it's so good. It was so good.
That's an amazing feeling.
It is. It is.
And what advice do you have as far as like the longevity and keeping just, okay, you did your first film, now to the second, now to the like the third, now your eighth, you know, how, and it's funny because you did it like, I love that you've done all these features and now you do a short.
I know.
Totally
I know.
opposite.
Well, that's just me, though. That's just me. I do everything the wrong way around, topsy-turvy, and just
No,
don't
it's
listen to
okay.
the rules.
We did a Western your first thing.
No.
We understand.
So advice for longevity. Well, I put myself in a pretty good position to be able to do longevity. Well, that's terrible English, but it's the end of the day and
I use longevity. I don't even know if that's the right term.
No.
But
But I'm
that's
going
what
to keep
calling
it. But I just said we're going to do longevity, which I don't think is actually grammatically correct at all. I should have gone to my lectures. Anyway, so I think it's about putting yourself in a position where you can. So what I mean by that is my home life, and I say affords, I don't just mean financially, I mean emotionally, affords me to do this. So I have, I think this is maybe something I did even speak about in Pasadena.
At tea time.
Yes, we did that at tea time. Is about making your life work for this. So this is all I want to do. Okay, this is it. It's a drug to me. I literally am Elizabeth Blake Thomas, who's addicted to making movies. And so therefore, what can I do to make that happen? Well, to me, it's about making sure that I have no worries. And what I mean by that is I've just come out of my apartment that was, and I will say, $3,000 a month, very expensive, to live on my boat, which is $700 a month. So that's a really nice relief.
Crazy.
Then I don't shop. I live very healthily. I don't eat a huge amount. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy food to eat, by the way. It's not what I'm promoting. But I look after myself. I don't have a car. I use my daughter's. I gave it to her. So I live a very simple life. And that also affords you then the time, because I'm not sitting there going, oh my God, what have I got to pay for, do, look after, removing direct debits, removing anything. And now my daughter as well, the minute she hits 16, I've been preparing for this moment so that she can drive herself to everything. And she passed the California High School Proficiency exam. So she can go to every job now without me. So suddenly I'm able to, I know it's great. So other than Chai, my little baby Maltese, who sits very quietly anyway, who loves just sitting at the chateau with me, my life allows me to have that longevity. Now, and I'm also not promoting not having a boyfriend, but I will say it's quite nice not having a boyfriend, because my brain can't go there either. It doesn't need to. I literally wake up and go, oh, I'm going to write this. I'm going to work on that. How can I make that happen? When am I going to shoot that? Where am I going there? That's what I live for. So I think if it's something that you really want to do, you have to make your lifestyle work for it. And that's not saying you can't if you're married or you've got children, but it's harder.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. You have to make sacrifices for it, and
non-stop
it's a
sacrifices.
Non-stop process when you're pre-production shoot, like just the whole thing. You're like in the zone.
Yeah,
you know?
you are. And actually, I was thinking the other day about the word no, because I'd read somewhere that, you have to go through all these no's to get a yes. It's funny, I don't actually even hear the word no. And I was literally going back going, I'm sure no one said no to me. And I was thinking, well, of course, loads of people have said no to me, but I never saw it as a no. I saw it as how can I make make this better then?
Yeah.
It just doesn't even come into my mindset that there's a no. It's kind of like, okay, so if this isn't right for them, then what is right for them? Or how can I make that happen?
Yeah.
So I don't feel I've had any no's ever.
But that's such a productive way to think about it. You know, so many people get so down getting the rejection of Hollywood and stuff, but that's the perfect way to think about it, is how can I then adjust to get that yes? And, you know.
Well, you have to do it yourself though as well. A lot of people, I think, wait for that phone call. I'll put my hand. I haven't had a phone call from Warner Brothers or Hulu or Netflix saying, please could you come and direct this? No, not at all. But that doesn't matter, because is that what I'm striving for? Well, my experience, my learning, this is the journey. And as well, I think the minute you realise that, it's a really good journey. If you're just thinking about that goal, because I'm not thinking, oh, great, I've got an Oscar, now I can stop. That Oscar is literally my first rung of the ladder, enabling me to do all the other things that I want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just think there's a different way of looking at things.
Absolutely.
And believe me, I do get tired.
You don't look it, girl.
Oh,
she's like got a nice tan on. She definitely has lovely tea time with her boat and her dog.
Oh yeah, that helped this morning. Yeah, that was lovely. Waking up to that view, and again, that allows you that and affords you that time to just breathe.
Right.
Listen to my vinyls.
Yeah.
You know, sit on the boat, pretend I'm in the 1940s.
Oh, precious. I love that. You got to do it. You got to find those things that are going to keep you going, rejuvenated, inspired. We're big on just being inspired, reading, listening to anything out there, especially on your project. So that way you like new ideas. You're ready to roll with the punches. If you got to change something, you have inspiration to just fuel you.
And well, being out and about does that as well. You know, I never just sit at home. Someone said to me that, you know, it's great that you know who Steven Spielberg is, but does he know who you are? And I thought, that's a good point. He doesn't, does he? How can I do that? So then you go and sit at these places, and I sit at Chateau Marmont, and I work from there. That's my office, and I get lots of cups of tea, and I meet people there all the time, and I'm being inspired. You know, I'm not just sitting on my boat or wherever thinking, oh, great, I've written another film. And it's like, how can I make this now? I mean, the next feature that I've been asked to direct is a $3 million in Florida. And I've been asked to direct that. It's my first project where I've been, you know, headhunted.
That's great.
And then I've got another one, thank you, that I want to direct that's my own again, called Millie and Me. And I'm looking at Joan Collins to play the lead with Isabella, because it's a true story about Isabella. Awesome. So I'm already in my head going, okay, how can I make that one happen? I'll make that one happen.
Right.
And once you've made something happen, it's amazing how quickly people then believe in you even more.
Yeah.
Oh, she does it. Oh, okay, I can give her some money because I know that's going to happen.
Exactly. Exactly. That's huge. So listeners, go out there.
Yeah.
That's your you know.
Yeah, and for our listeners, if they want to follow your journey, are your films available to watch?
Or? A couple of them are. Yeah, they're all coming, because obviously I've made them in such a short frame of time. Yeah. But I love them all for very different reasons. And in fact, the one that's on Amazon at the moment, Pretty Outrageous, that was made for $30,000. That's my kids' film. That was my second one, where I suddenly realised I had to, after my $250,000 one, make my second. That was the best advice I was given. And I thought, how the heck do I find $250,000 again? You know. So I got some friends together who have kids, and we made that film. But I'm very proud of it, because it's, again, showing what you can achieve with that small amount of money.
Yeah.
And then the other ones are coming out over this next year. In fact, I just had my red carpet screening for Maybe I'm Fine. So that will be out over the next year too.
Awesome.
So they're coming. They're coming.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
And would you like us to send listeners to your website, your Instagram?
Yes, lots of places. Let's think. So my website is my name, elizabethblakethomas.co.uk or .com. I'm also CEO of Mother Daughter Entertainment with my daughter, and that is motherdaughterent.com. I think motheranddaughterenT.com. And then I'm at Elizabeth_B_T on Instagram and Twitter, and then Facebook's just my name as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us today. It was lovely talking to you.
It
Lots
was
of
my
advice
pleasure.
and inspiration.
I loved it. Thank you.
Oh, you're
Thank
so
you.
welcome.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in again, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Femme Regard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in next time for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals over tea.
We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. If you leave us a great comment, we might give you a shout out on the show. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.